what I'm here to do today is, I'm actually not going to talk about personal finance blogging specifically. I'm going to talk about my business model and how DailyWorth makes money. It's an interesting story. I always think it's interesting. I'm going to tell you the story of how I started DailyWorth, why I designed DailyWorth the way I did, and specifically about how you grow an email list, because email is our primary revenue generator. Share with you the many, many mistakes I've made over the last 12 years in building probably 6 different businesses at this point, most of which didn't last past 6 weeks. And specifically, when I was talking to Phil planning the presentation beforehand, he said, you know, a lot of people have big email lists and they don't know how to monetize them, or they're looking to grow email lists and they want to understand specifically how to make money from that email list. So how is it that you're growing an email list, and how specifically does monetization of an email list work? So I'm here to help you make more money. I hope that works well for you. What I'm going to do also is kind of share with you some experiences I've had that have failed. As I mentioned, I've built multiple internet companies. I've been running web agencies for 10 years. That's what I did before starting DailyWorth. And I've launched a myriad of projects that, you know, maybe spit off a couple $1,000s here and there. So they seemed like they had potential, but the model wasn't quite working. So I would spend anywhere from 6 weeks to a year running these various web properties and then ultimately decide to shut them down. But the good thing with DailyWorth is that it's actually a model that's totally working. So I can explain to you how and why that is. So first of all, I just want to tell you the quick story about what DailyWorth is, for those of you who don't know, and how I came to start it. So when I was 2 years old, my parents got divorced. And for many years in my early childhood, my mom shook me lovingly and said, Amanda, you will never depend on anyone. Amanda, you will create your own worth. And what she doesn't realize is that she created a maniacal entrepreneur in the process. So in my 20s, I became very good at making money as a web entrepreneur, mostly running web agencies, building other people's websites. And what I also realized in that process was that I became really good at spending all of the money that I was making. And so, of course, I'm sure many of us have the same story. What propels us into the work that we do, other than, you know, we have ideas about the financial wealth we want to generate for ourselves. And for those, some of you come at personal finance blogging from the expert side. Some of you come at it from the side that I do, which I call the ever-evolving experiment, which is, you know, why is it that I've been able to make all this money, but I don't have a lot of it in savings? You know, obviously it's just basic math that determines how much money you have at the end of the day. But it took me many years of mistakes to realize that. So I started DailyWorth specifically with an interest in helping women learn better money management. So just in terms of what is DailyWorth, DailyWorth is actually, we have a blog, which is part of what we do, but really what we are is a daily email about personal finance. And we cover 5 topics: budgeting, earning, saving, spending, and investing. So that's the basic overview of what DailyWorth is. Let me make sure we are, so this is what we look like. We deliver worth daily by email. So this is what a typical email looks like. We have our editorial on the side. This is a piece I wrote about an aha moment I had around budgeting, which was taking money out of my bill paying account and putting it into a separate spending account so that I never spend money that's actually allocated to pay bills. This took me like years to figure out, and it's had a dramatic impact on my finances. And then on the right-hand side, you see the advertisement for Manila, which is really cool new bill-paying software. Okay, let's see. All right. So really what it comes down to is, for us, is email subscriber acquisition. When I was running web agencies, I became quite frustrated. They were great businesses in terms of being able to pay myself $100,000, $150,000 a year, really great salaries. But because I was working on so many other people's venture-backed startups who were raising all this money, and I was like, wait, I know how to do that. I can do that too. So I always was kind of dreaming about what is the ultimate business, what's something really scalable that I can build. And when Daily Candy hit my inbox, Daily Candy is a daily email about fashion that goes to about 3 million women a day right now. When that hit my inbox back in 2001, I said, oh, well, isn't that brilliant? You're growing an email list, and then the CPMs that emails can garner are pretty unbelievable. So I'm going to get into that. So fortunately, DailyWorth is doing very well. We have gotten to about 150,000 subscribers. That's where we are right now. And it's taken us about 2.5 years to get there. So how is it that we are growing our list? Actually, I will tell you, this is my 6th conference in 10 days, I have to say. It's been a wild couple of 2 weeks. And one of the speeches, were any of you at Smash Summit in New York? I think I met one person who heard me at Smash Summit. I was there specifically to talk about organic acquisition breakdown. I'm going to focus on organic email list growth for the sake of today's conversation. Actually, DailyWorth does a lot of paid acquisition as well. We have raised angel capital as a means of growing our email list. But specifically for helping you, not everyone's going to go out and raise angel capital. And I don't blame you if you don't want to. It's a really, really challenging process. But specifically, what I want to highlight here is that 46% of those who come organically to our website come directly. And we really attribute this to the fact that email unto itself is so viral. When I speak at a lot of conferences now, and people come up and they say, I love DailyWorth, I forward it to all of my friends. We're generating conversation. I was the person who said, it really helps to spark controversy, talk about taboo issues. It really gets people talking. That's what we attribute a lot of the direct subscriber acquisition to. 20% comes through organic search. 12% comes through barter, where we're actually trading our remnant advertising inventory with like-minded websites. So maybe there's a motherhood website, an entrepreneurship website that has an email inventory like ours. We've been able to grow our list a lot through that. What I also want to tell you is that, look, only 4% come through social, Twitter and Facebook. I spent the first 9 months when I was running DailyWorth by myself, literally publishing our emails, writing them at 3 o'clock in the morning. I gave birth to my 2nd child and launched DailyWorth in the same week. I don't recommend it, but it meant I was up a lot, which gave me a lot of extra time to work. I spent the first 9 months of DailyWorth trying to grow it through Twitter and Facebook, and I'm sure there were many mechanisms that enable people to do that faster. Even as we get more and more sophisticated in our marketing, I just want to tell you that there's a lot of hype out there around how to grow your audience and how to grow your membership and your engagement, whatever that looks like to you. Just because there's a lot of hype in one area doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work. So continuously, we have a relatively strong Twitter presence and Facebook presence, but it by no means is as powerful as, say, bartering or even the referrals of our existing customers to tell their friends about it. So, okay. Another thing that's really important in terms of email list growth is how easy you make it and how obvious you make it for people to give you their email address. Just note that this is what our homepage looks like, and about 70% of the homepage says, give me your email address. Just something to take into consideration. I've worked as a consultant for a lot of companies, a lot of organizations that have a sign-up button in the top right-hand corner that takes you to a separate landing page. You're automatically only going to get 4% traffic. You're just completely cutting off your conversion channels if you're doing it that way. So consider if email is central to your growth strategy, and maybe it will after I tell you some of the numbers in terms of how much money you can make from email. Consider how well you position and how you advertise the fact that signing up for your content is a way for you to engage. Interesting that Ramit said 90%. Ramit, are you here? He was coming. He said 90% of his revenue comes from email. Is that what he said? Is anyone else listening? Yeah. I know, for any of you who know Peter Shankman, helperreporter.com, he's a social media expert. He talks about social media all day, social media all day. If you ask him where his revenue comes from, it comes from his email. So one thing in terms of overall acquisition that we have learned the hard way in terms of growing your email list is that what worked 2 months ago, like Facebook was working for us for 4 or 5 months on the paid acquisition side, and then all of a sudden the expense per new subscriber shot up and it stopped working. So what we've realized is that instead of thinking about these long marketing campaigns that have enabled us to grow, you have to embrace the culture of constant change and constant testing in terms of your marketing initiatives. So, overall engagement of email, just a few things I want to tell you. Oh my God, I got to talk faster. So I just wanted to throw up here kind of what subject lines are critical to success of any email. The highest open rates are, when we're really didactic, stop lying, cut it out, things like that. Anytime we mention 401ks or taxes, we have the lowest open rates, which is kind of ironic for personal finance, but interesting in terms of how you have to package it. We just did this infographic because we were interested. We took, we stripped all the keywords out of probably 300 emails and correlated them to open rates and divided them by frequency, and you can see kind of what the most popular words are that show up in our emails. Okay, so revenue monetization. How does it work? So this is how we make money. We do not do any CPA. We do not do any lead generation. We do not do any acquisition marketing. Everyone offers it to us. We've done spreadsheet after spreadsheet that shows how much money, based on traffic, based on how many subscribers we have, of what the revenue would look like using those types of services. And then we looked at the one thing that we do to make money. We only do one thing to make money, and we do it really, really well, which is dedicated email advertorial. So this is how it works. We send emails to our subscribers 5 days a week. 1 day a week, an advertiser, many of which are here, which we are very happy to see all of you guys, and I'll show you who all of our advertisers are in a second. So if you're thinking about doing this, you know the types of companies you can talk to. Is we work with them to create content where they get to control the content. We get ultimate sign-off to make sure that we can really stand behind the message and that it's fact-checked, and that we oftentimes work with our advertisers to even make it a learning experience, or at least an engaging experience. We always mark in the subject line that it's dedicated. That way we are telling the reader before they even open the email that it is a sponsored, dedicated email. It always says very clearly that it's from a partner and it's sponsored, but it looks and feels just like a DailyWorth email. And the reason why this works so well as a revenue generator is you would think because it said dedicated email that our readers wouldn't open it as much, or it would cause a higher unsubscribe rate. That actually isn't the case. Some of our highest performing emails are the ones that are sponsored from our partners. And in terms of revenue, so there are a few things I'll tell you. If you want to institute a program like this, here are some things just for you to know. Unfortunately, I've surrounded myself with mentors from Daily Candy, from Ideal Bite, from Tasting Table, from Thrillist, from a lot of the internet companies that make money doing it this way. The first thing you have to know is you're not going to really be able to sell these until you hit about 15,000, 20,000 subscribers. That's not easy to do. But if you want to work with a brand that can afford to buy from you, that you really want to aim, we weren't really able to do it until we hit about 15,000, 20,000 subscribers. That's when we were able to start doing this. And we saw a huge leap in advertiser interest when we hit 50,000 subscribers. And so just in terms of CPAs and CPMs, since many of you are familiar with that language, dedicated email advertorial can generate anywhere from $100 CPMs to $250 CPMs. I mean, that's astronomical for you guys. I mean, if you do the math on just $100 CPMs with 50,000 subscribers, that's $5,000 for a single email. That's real money. So I ran this website a while ago called Joomla Simple. I'm a big nerd. I'm a programmer by training. And I thought, I've always been a hack serial entrepreneur. I thought in my 20s, which was a few years ago, I want to set up a website. I can do this. I'm going to set up a widget for the open source community for Joomla Simple, which is an open source platform, blah, blah, blah. But the point was, I set up this website and I put keywords on it, and I did all of the I was studying the engineering of how you make money through click-throughs and things of that nature, and I got about $1,000 a month in terms of what I was able to get to. And my point here in showing you this is I wanted to bring to you revenue-generating opportunities that you can actually really make a living on if you really want to make this your job. DailyWorth now supports 5 full-time employees, and we'll have 10 full-time employees, if you can imagine the revenue that needs to be generated to do that. We're going to have 3 publications, 4 people in advertising sales, 2 in marketing. It's turning into like a real media company. So I really think that's why Phil wanted me to come today and say, Amanda, how have you taken this personal finance blogging thing and turned it into the business that you turned it into? So it's really about these very high-performing vehicles that work. Okay, so I have 2 more minutes left before questions. So these are a few things that I've learned from my mentors and from trial and error over the years. Your brand really matters. If you want to do this, your brand really, really matters. You have to be as professional and as tight and as clean as the advertisers that you're representing. You'll need a media kit. You need to basically be able to present what it is you're offering in your market if you want to do this. As I said, 15,000 is the absolute minimum in terms of subscribers if you want to start offering this. Never mix advertising with editorial. This is so critical. So many of our advertisers want to give us content. The answer is always no. People often offer us lead gen for us to make money off of the links inside our editorial. We say no. We just deliver 1 advertisement per week, and that is the big money maker, and everything else is totally on the other side of the house, and we keep that very clean division. And that just, always mark advertising clearly. We always mark our ads 3 different times to make sure that it's clear that it's advertising. So here's some of our advertisers. The .coms that are here, like Betterment and Perk Street and Manila. You probably definitely need between 15 and 20,000 to even approach these guys with an email list. Fortunately, we're starting to move into some of the bigger brands and some of the bigger banks and investment companies. But I've realized you have to get to like 50, 80, 100,000 subscribers before they'll talk to you. Email is an unbelievably high performance medium. And the thing that's made us so successful is that we're not trying to monetize in 80 different ways. We're just monetizing in one way, and we're just keeping it really clean and really simple.